Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. I'm making a video response to Farhan, who made a video response to my video about his article regarding religious conversion, why people convert, and Farhan in my video, I basically talked about the paragraph or so of his article where he discussed dreams and having to do with the nature of conversion. Farhan, I wanted to thank you for watching the video and responding. I would say that, yeah, the majority of your video, there was nothing in there that I think I need to correct you about. Um, I think that one thing we have to keep in mind, and this might have been my bad in my original video when I sort of juxtaposed self-actualization, transpersonal psychology, which is Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers, with Jungian analysis or Jungian analytical psychology, which is a part of depth psychology. They're very similar in a lot of ways. The goal of the humanistic or transpersonal third force of psychology, as you said, was to be able to self-actualize, or in the Eastern philosophies, enlightenment, or to reach enlightenment. And I suppose one could say that Jungian psychology has a very similar goal, except the way in which Maslow describes the subjective experience that people have with regards to self-actualizing I would say would be more in line with Jung's view of the transcendent function, which is a part of the psyche, which sort of gives us that feeling of transcendence. He would probably argue that the archetype, the unconscious archetype of God, also has a lot to do with giving us that feeling of awesomeness, or feeling sort of at one with the universe, or the sort of feelings that people describe when discussing subjects such as this, spiritual experiences and whatnot. In this video, I want to be very clear that when I'm discussing Jungian psychology, Jung had to make the same statement when he was talking about religion, because a lot of people would think that he was talking about religion in a literal fashion, or God in a literal fashion. And he very much was of a person who said that he was not a theologian, and therefore he was a psychologist, and as such, any statements he was going to make about religion or about God was purely from a psychological point of view. And I want to actually second that motion with regards to anything that I say about Jungian psychology and religion. Um, Anything that I might say about Jungian psychology and Jung's theories, and to answer your questions, Farhan, that you put to me, I'm making purely from a psychological point of view. It just so happens that Jung included religion and spirituality and discussions of God and philosophy into his theories of psychology. So when I'm talking about God, I'll be very clear when I'm referring to Jung's theory of archetypes, and that he believed that there was a God archetype. This would explain, this was his attempt to explain why every culture of our species has had religion. How we express consciously the God archetype, or how we project the God archetype in a collective fashion onto a metaphysical entity, is what gives our variations of religious experiences or expressions of religion their unique characters. But on an individual level, we come equipped unconsciously with a God archetype, which is not to say that we're referring to God literally. I want to make that very clear. This is a part of our unconscious faculty, or the collective unconscious. If this is confusing to people watching this, it's okay. I would simply look up an article on archetypes to best understand this. Um, so to answer your questions, Farhan, you said, well, if you are having dreams, well, first off, you said it seems sort of like I was sort of talking about relativism, or this idea that it's all really relative with regards to subjective experiences, and to some extent, I guess you could say that that's true, in a way. Jung's theories essentially talk about the individual in relationship to the rest of the species. So, as I said, we come equipped with our psyches. We come equipped with a sort of, we come with these archetypes, and with which are a huge part of our unconscious personality. And so, as individuals, we experience collective, universal experiences, or we have parts of our personality that are universal in nature. And so and thus we have psychological experiences that are universal to the species, on top of our personal experiences. And so I would say that it is actually both relative and universal, if that makes any sense, if I'm understanding your usage of the terms correctly. We have individual experiences, but we also have collective experiences that we experience as individuals going through life. Having said that, to answer your question about yourself, like if you're having dreams that seem to tell you that Eastern mysticism is the way to go for you, Eastern philosophy, and if Nabil Qureshi is having dreams about Jesus, and therefore that would be an indication that his psyche is telling him, or his unconscious is telling him that he should go towards Jesus, I'd have to unpack both of you, metaphorically speaking. In other words, I have to unpack your statements. One thing in particular is that to understand dreams is very difficult. First off, Jung said that one has to be very well read in history, philosophy, mythology, comparative religion, fairy tales, literature, to actually be able to understand the symbols that are produced by the unconscious. Another thing that is very difficult is to understand your own dreams, because the unconscious operates as a compensation to consciousness. In other words, we have many blind spots that we do not see about ourselves. There are many aspects of our personality which our consciousness cannot handle, or is ignorant of. And thus, this is the whole point of Jungian analytical psychology. You have a Jungian analyst who is able to help you understand your dreams, your fantasies, visions, experiences, anything that the psyche produces to help you understand yourself. So, if, having said that, unless you and Nabil Qureshi go through Jungian analysis, I can't say for certain that what you think your dreams are telling you is legitimate, or that your conscious conclusions are actually understanding your blind spots. Now, if you're having dreams where Eastern mysticism seems to be playing a huge role, that must say something about Eastern mysticism with regards to you as an individual. Same thing with Jesus for Nabil Qureshi. Now, Jung studied what Jesus Christ means as a psychological symbol. I'll be very clear about this. He was not making a statement about the person of Jesus on a metaphysical level. As a psychological symbol, Jesus, and I think he said the same thing about the Buddha, and I think I want to say that Jungian analysts say the same thing about Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Lao Tzu, but I could be mistaken. But I know for a fact that Jung himself said the same thing about Jesus and Buddha as psychological symbols in people's dreams, is that they represent the self, the totality of the psyche, and as one important symbol. So the thing is that if Nabil's having dreams about Jesus, it may not necessarily mean that he's having dreams about Jesus in a metaphysical sense. It could be that he's literally having dreams about the self of his psyche. It's also not uncommon, I would say, for religious individuals to have dreams about their religion. And what does that mean for Nabil? Again, he'd have to see a Jungian analyst. Same with yourself. Because spirituality and religion play such a huge importance to the psychology of our species, I would say that if you both feel that that direction is the way that you need to go, then of course pursue it. And I mean that purely from a psychological point of view. People who are watching this video may be saying, oh, you shouldn't be encouraging people to seek out other religions. But as someone as myself who wishes to, in the future, study psychology as a profession, I have to understand the subjective experiences of people, and my biases cannot get in the way as someone who wants to be a psychologist in the future. I simply can't. It would be wrong of me to tell you and Nabil, don't pursue these things if these are the things that are making you happy. One thing I will say, though, and this is something that we all have to deal with, is that Jung was of the opinion that when you convert to another religion, a large part of your psyche, because of how you were brought up, is rooted in the religions of your culture or the religions of your past. So, on a psychological level, you and Nabil will have to deal with the residue, psychologically speaking, of your past religious experiences or upbringings. You simply cannot convert or leave a religion without first dealing with uh, those past religious experiences. They're a product of your culture. They're part of your collective, your unique connection with the collective unconscious, or even with your personal unconscious, which is also heavily cultural in nature. You'll have to deal with that. If you don't, then you may be in danger of projecting the things that you found dissatisfying with your past religion onto other people or onto your more recent conscious pursuits. I'm not saying that this is a fact for you in particular, or that you are going through this right now. These are just a part of Jung's theories. He really was cautious about people actually, just sort of jumping into another religion. Not that I'm saying that you or Nabil are doing this. I'm just simply saying, since we're talking about conversion, some people just suddenly go boom and they suddenly convert. And I don't think Jung really thought that was the best thing. We are so rooted in our upbringing that we have to deal with that sort of thing. So I hope this answers some of your questions. If I've left anything out, I hope you make another video response to this and we can continue the discussion. Again, for those of my viewers who are really confused right now, I am purely talking from a psychological point of view. I want to make this very clear. Now, with regards to Imam Ash'ari leaving the Mu'taziliya and then starting his own school of Kalam or theology, again, since Imam Ash'ari thought that those dreams were telling him to do that, I guess you might ask me as a follow-up question, well, if he didn't understand his own dreams, or if he didn't go into analysis, then were his dreams understood legitimately? And again, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I would say that there are a number of Islamic philosophers, and I would say Jung himself spoke of people with mana personality, who were individuals that were so in tuned with the unconscious or with spirituality that they had a unique way of actually understanding unconscious symbols and then making them conscious. So if Imam Ash'ari was one of those individuals, and if I'm understanding Jung's theory of mana personality correctly, and also kind of dragging in like Ibn Sina's view of inspired philosophers who understood their unconscious very well in comparison to others, then maybe Imam Ash'ari happened to be one of those people, and that he could understand his unconscious processes better than most, and that's why he made the decision to convert. Excuse me. Beyond that, I don't know what else to say. I guess if you have any other questions or other points you'd like to raise, please do. If I was vague and if I need to explain anything, please let me know as well. And for my viewers, again, who are really confused right now, I would Google archetypes, collective unconscious, to better understand Jung's theories on this and what I am talking about. So thank you everyone for watching. Peace be with you all.